Shri Arun Firodia, dignitaries on the dais, members of the corporate community in Pune, and of course, startups, ladies and gentlemen. For us, it is a very momentous occasion because I think it represents a very significant investment by the Government of India and of course the Ministry of IT in recognizing Pune's unique position as a hub of innovation for information technology as well as manufacturing. And I think this intersection is what we are celebrating in this Center of Excellence. Just as a background, I think you all know that the Software Technology Parks of India scheme probably created the $160 billion software industry in India because it was the then Department of Electronics and the then Secretary, Mr. N. Vittal, who actually came up with this scheme, which completely spurred what is today 55% global market share in software outsourcing. And my belief is that this initiative with STPI and MeitY, fully supported by the Government of India, Government of Maharashtra, and of course the corporate sector, will have the same impact in this country. Why do I say that? As all of you would have heard, there is a desire in India that by 2030, all automotive will be electric or connected and will certainly not use fuel. Now, it is a good ambition to have, but it needs all of us to work together to enable these things to happen. And I'll say this because just look at a comparison. Today, if you look at America, there are close to 380 million connected vehicles. In India, if you look at electric vehicles, it's probably less than 40,000 today. So the challenge and the opportunity is enormous. So let's just very quickly look at these three segments. If you look at connected vehicles, for instance, connected vehicles, you know, is not just connected as in embedded technology, but it is what we call tethering. When you say tethering, using your smartphone, your vehicle can get connected to another vehicle. Using, let's say, an Amazon Alexa app, you can actually navigate, you can entertain, you can make payments. Everything happens from the privacy of your car or your truck or whatever. And I think this is a trend we are seeing happening. And the opportunities, I mean, I have a friend here who has come from the US, Mr. Ramprasad, and he lives in California. And he was telling me last night that his son works for a company called Cruise Motion, which is a General Motors subsidiary. In fact, General Motors bought the company because most of the automotive companies today have large facilities in Silicon Valley because they realize that the future of automotive is going to come from the innovations in technology. And if you look at what this company is doing, for instance, they are looking at algorithms, artificial intelligence, new digital technologies in every aspect of connected vehicles, right from perception, or which is really perceiving what are the opportunities and what is happening around the car or the vehicle, to actual action. Because don't forget that if a car has to be autonomous, it has to take actions at a much faster pace than a car which is driver-led. And third is the feedback loop. So if you look at artificial intelligence, machine learning, I think every incident on the road, everything that happens has to go into a feedback process that then enables the computers in the car to be much more intelligent. So connected vehicles itself, I would think, presents opportunities for probably 1 lakh startups in this country to work on this technology and this capability. If you move to the area of electric vehicles, for instance, the opportunity is great. I mean, we were delighted some time back when Bajaj Auto from Pune, for instance, decided to launch electric scooters in the country. And there are already many startups, including a very successful one in Chennai, which has already brought electric scooters to the road. But the real challenge is going to be battery technology. Because if you look at the core battery of an electric vehicle, to prevent overheating, to make sure it functions properly, enormous amounts of lithium and cobalt are required. And lithium and cobalt are commodities which are not easily available in this country. So if you just jump into electric vehicles without having the ecosystem available for that, you might end up, today the automotive industry is probably 15% import dependent. It could go back to 70%. And okay, there are fuel cell technologies, there are multiple technologies, but I think the big entrepreneurial opportunity in this country is to work on new generation battery systems that will enable connected vehicles and electric vehicles to operate on the roads and still be very, very cost effective. And unless we do that, we'll find that there will be anecdotal evidence of electric vehicles, but you won't really see the advances and the adoption that we want to see happening. So I think that's going to be something we need to worry about. The third, of course, I mean, we all talk about autonomous vehicles. Okay, I mean, The government has said that they will not make vehicles so autonomous that it eliminates the need for drivers. I mean, today India is looking at 1 crore people being in the driving profession, and we can't suddenly introduce autonomous and make it happen. Of course, the good news or the bad news is with all the potholes on the road in Pune, autonomous vehicles can never be a reality in the near future, so we don't need to worry about it. Our infrastructure takes care of that problem. But even if we do build the infrastructure to make that happen, I think we have to be very careful, very vigilant on what kind of autonomous technologies we use. Even in America, for instance, the belief is that while Tesla and General Motors and Toyota and everybody else is introducing and experimenting with autonomous vehicles, the first set of autonomous vehicles will come on the freeways in America, like our expressway, because truck drivers in America are able to drive at a relatively uninterrupted pace, and except when you get off the freeways onto the roads, you don't need too much of navigation. So I think autonomous is something that we will probably watch. There is a big opportunity in India, which we're already seeing with the Olas and Ubers, of shared vehicles and shared transportation. And that is probably something that we still have to see happening. So if you look at all these 4 dimensions, as I said, connected must happen because that is what creates the opportunities for the future. Electric is already beginning to happen, but needs to be scaled substantially with battery technology. Autonomous, as I said, is a decision we have to take, and shared vehicles will happen. I mean, yesterday we were discussing that even a company like Uber, for instance, which is making such big losses, the reason why Uber makes losses is that every time a driver picks you up and takes you to a destination, the company is making more loss. But imagine if you had automated vehicles, autonomous vehicles coming and picking you up and taking you to the airport or railway station, then the actual manpower cost of that vehicle will be much lower. So I think these are the opportunities people are seeing. Let me conclude by saying what is the opportunity for startups. I mean, we have Mr. Vishwas Mahajan here, who is one of the founders of TIE, which is the biggest entrepreneurial group in Pune. And there are multiple entrepreneurs in Pune who are looking at technology, looking at hardware, looking at software, communications, and of course, the automotive industry. And I think if you look at each one of these, the ability to sense, the ability to, what I said earlier, to take action, which is automated action, the ability to use artificial intelligence, machine learning to make that happen, and of course, the ability to design new cars altogether, I would think that, I would hope at least, that through the Center of Excellence and the incubation and the acceleration that we will see hundreds of thousands of startups, of successful companies emerging. I'm really delighted that people like Tata Motors are supporting this initiative. And I think working together, we will really make this happen. So let me conclude by thanking all of you. And I really see tremendous excitement in front of us. And let's work and make this happen together for the city of Pune. Thank you very much.